welcome to the first true classic review. I have promised to do this many times and have not really followed through, so here I am finally getting this done, and I'm going to review The Graduate. Now, The Graduate came out in 1967. It was directed by Mike Nichols and stars Dustin Hoffman as a man or a young man who is just out of college and he doesn't really know what he's going to do with his life. And that's the thing, is that he kind of gets pulled into these different worlds because he's kind of a pushover. His parents basically just parade him around, show him off because he is very smart, he's very well accomplished. He just is kind of the gold standard for that family, and he doesn't really know actually what he wants to do with his life. He's never really put a lot of thought into it. He's kind of just been railroaded from one spot to the next his entire life. And really the premise of the movie is that Dustin Hoffman's character, this pushover, basically gets forced into a relationship with a much older woman who is married, and of course it's very scandalous and they have to hide it, and Dustin Hoffman's not exactly proud of it. And that really is probably the strongest, most effective part of this movie, is the transformation of Dustin Hoffman's character from the beginning of the movie as this man who is kind of a pushover, doesn't really have any opinions of his own. He kind of just moves from spot to spot depending on what the people around him want him to do, and he ends up becoming this guy who is determined to do what he wants. He's going to do whatever he needs to get what he wants. Now, of course, this is a very substantive storyline for this character, and there are many substantive parts of this film, though actually this is a dark comedy at its heart. This movie is very funny. There are lots of moments where you will laugh out loud, like when Dustin Hoffman first gets trapped in the room with Mrs. Robinson, or when he goes to dinner with Mrs. Robinson's daughter. It's just a hilarious scene. It's really gut-busting. And I have to tip my hat to Mike Nichols, because he really knows how to do this comic timing. He knows when to edit, how to frame a scene, how to set a moment. It's all very good stuff. There's a lot of great metaphors with water especially, and there's also some almost Christ-like imagery at the end of the film, which works really well, and the final climactic scene even takes place in a church. And of course, all of the performances are great. I mean, Dustin Hoffman, one of the best actors really ever, and he is just as good as in any other movie here. He's very good at being impressionable, but then later in the film when he becomes desperate, he really conveys this in a very physical performance as well. There's a lot of physicality, especially in the final part of this film, though he does so much of his face. He's such a great actor. And everybody else in here is also very good. They all kind of revolve around his character. They all really support his character's progression throughout this film. And you can't really talk about The Graduate without mentioning the fact that Simon and Garfunkel had a huge hand in the soundtrack for this film, and there are many songs that work perfectly with the scenes that are going on, like Sound of Silence, and of course the song they wrote for this film, Mrs. Robinson, which opens the film. And it's a very effective opening. There's a lot of great visual metaphors here for the place that he's in, and it's a very effective, well set opening, and really this just sets the stage for the whole film and how well he is able, Mike Nichols, to marry the music with the actions of the characters and what it reveals about them. However, I don't think this is a perfect movie. I do think that the pacing is a little bit off, especially since this is a comedy and we really kind of sometimes want to get to the point. But I think the main problem is just that the third act of the film, while enjoyable and entertaining, is not as strong as the first two acts. I think is perfect filmmaking. The second half, or the third act, is really just a little bit weaker. It's not bad stuff. There's lots of great moments in this last act of this movie, but compared to the first two, it doesn't live up to its own high standards. And really, that's all I have to say about the movie. This is a great film. It is just so funny, so almost moving, so much of a character story, so much of a character study. I think that Dustin Hoffman is the perfect actor to play this role, and I think that it's a good starting point for Dustin Hoffman's career. If you haven't seen this, I highly recommend it, and I'm going to give it an A. Thank you all for watching. This is the first classic review I'm doing. I'm planning on doing this maybe once or twice a month. I think it'll be a very nice break from some of the new movies and other TV content news that I'm going to be doing. So I'm looking forward to that. If you liked this video, you can like below, comment, did you like The Graduate, what do you think about this movie? And subscribe to this channel if you want to see more great movie reviews. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.